So we've already done all the class cards and discussions on those. So now we're going to go into the actual discussion on neutrals. And this will round off the Rustcon's Rumble card review. Hope you guys enjoyed up to this point, and we'll continue this and finish it up. All right, so starting off, we're going with a 10 mana Hakar, the Soul Flare. 10 mana, 9/6, Death Rattle, shuffle a Corrupted Blood into each player's deck. So, the way this works is, so whenever you drop this down, 10 mana, once he dies, each player gets a Corrupted Blood. So, Corrupted Blood, cast when drawn, takes 3 damage. After you draw, shuffle 2 copies of this into your deck. So the key thing here is that it actually does it after you draw it. They'll shuffle those. So there's no way for you to like fill your deck with Corrupted Bloods and tog waggle it to your enemy or something so then they get all the Corrupted Bloods and kill you in some way. It's essentially a means to, I guess, put a timer on the clock for both players. Honestly, long story short for this one, it's it's a meme card. I mean, it's late to the game, 10 mana. Then after you play it, it has to die even before you get the Corrupted Bloods. Also, if you didn't know the way that it works, it's based off of a issue that happened in actual World of Warcraft where people will be actually have the Corrupted Bloods on them, and by having Corrupted Bloods on them, they were able to actually kill other players. So it's pretty interesting that they added this into the game, but it's nothing serious at the moment. I'm sure someone's going to make a deck out of it, but it's really slow. All right. Next, we got Undasta. 9 mana, 7/7 Rush. Overkill. Summon a beast from your hand. So, this, of course, any type of beast deck, definitely Hunter, with the fact that it has Rush as well. It's really going to be added in there and actually be pretty strong. So, the fact that it has Rush is great because at 9 mana, it has to do something when you play it. So, with the fact that it has Rush and Overkill with 7 attack, I mean, there's a high probability you're going to kill stuff. And then once you kill something, you play it instantly plays something from your hand, which is great because then you don't have to spend the mana on that. So Undasta will definitely be played, especially in beast decks, maybe Druid, I don't know, but mainly Hunter. So look forward to seeing that in the future. Now, 8 mana, 8/5, the Undertaker. I'm actually excited by this one. So, Battlecry gained the Death Rattle effects of 3 friendly minions that died this game. So, the way it works is it'll gain, randomly uh, play, 3 different death rattles from other creatures you played. So, of course, natural thing, rogue as death rattle theme. But I'm actually excited to see this in like priest because priest actually has some pretty interesting death rattle, and I'm interested to see how this is going to work. And like for example, uh, was it Zarek Master Cloner? So you have Zarek, and it's Zarek does his thing. You get several Zareks, and then he gets Zarek's um, card, which basically is saying play a spell on it, get another copy. So I think that's going to be pretty interesting to have another pseudo Zarek like. I believe, as far as death rattles in the game, actually, there's some pretty strong ones to begin with. So it's going to be interesting that he gets 3 different ones. So I'm actually looking forward to playing him and seeing how he works. Let's see here. All right, so next we have 6 mana Mojo Master Zihi. So 6 mana 5/5 battle cry. Set each player to 5 mana crystals. So the murmurs that I've been hearing about this one is the whole using Mojo Master Zihi kind of with scroll up here to the priest surrender to madness. So, like for example, you're at 10 mana. Let's say you play surrender to madness. You go out down to 7, and then you play whatever. But then if you play Mojo Master, changes the enemy to down to 5 and you down to 5. So then it's not as bad where your opponent's at 10 mana and you're at 7 mana. I mean, it is a combo. It's something, something you can do. The only drawback to what we talked about before with Priest, with Surrender to Madness, and this, with Priest, it's going to be more of a minion based, almost tempo like. So, I mean, it's going to be experimented with. It's going to be interesting to see how that works. But, I mean, it's quite possible that, everyone was wrong and Surrender Madness could actually be pretty good. It's just so hard to lose 3 of your mana crystals and literally set yourself behind just so that the rest of your minions that you hopefully went into your deck as 1/1s or 1 cost are buffed. So, ugh, I mean, it's a combo. We'll see how it works, but good luck on that. All right, next we have Grifta. 4 mana, 4/5. Battlecry, discover 2 cards, give 1 to your opponent at random. So, this one, I saw a good discussion by Trump saying how actually Grifta could be a really good card. And I almost agree with him on the aspect that whenever you are playing this, right, you discover two sets of cards. So, for example, say your opponent has a lot of minions on their board. You play this, and you get what's the guy's name that basically you play some minions that you can steal your opponent's minion whenever he has 4 cards. So you can use that. You can essentially, the whole deal is pick 2 cards that might be beneficial to you that may not be as beneficial to your opponent. And you know what those cards are. You've seen those cards. So if your opponent gets one of them, you know what that card is compared to him knowing what you chose. So honestly, it's not as bad as it could seem. And you might be able to play something that or give them something that they can't use at all versus something that you could use. So Grifta could actually be a pretty good one. The only thing is Grifta, I mean, because he's a legendary, but honestly, his battle cry, he probably could have been just an epic card, to be honest. Because the whole disruptive type of it, they could have given that to Warlock. Have some disruptive Warlock card that does that thing, and we would have been like, oh, okay, whatever. But because he's a legendary, it's like, do I want to take out a deck slot just to kind of put him in there for a maybe? I mean, we'll have to see how that works. But next, 7 mana Crowd Roaster. 7 mana, 7/4. Battlecry, if you're holding a dragon, deals 7 damage to enemy minion. So this guy, he's a dragon. So dragons are good for the expansion. Dragons are just basically really good for warrior. So of course he has 4 health, but the fact that he can deal 7 damage to something off the bat, I mean that's almost killing stuff. That's almost killing anything in the game. There's of course you got minions that have like Lich King, things of that nature that's 8 health. But even if you do Lich King at 8 health, he has 1 health left over. And guess what? We have overkill. We have a lot of minions with overkill. So he can kind of parry off with that, especially in your warrior deck. So I can see this definitely being Warrior, and the fact that, of course, Warrior gets Dragon War, so even if you don't run it in Warrior, you can still get him. And he'll be easily to proc. So he's almost a killing, destructive thing, so we'll see how that goes. Next, 7 mana, 5/10, Line Cracker, Overkill, double this minion's attack. So, if it wasn't for the fact that he costs so much, I really think that this guy would be good in Priest. Because, of course, anything that has a whole lot of health, automatically in Priest, you're thinking of one, you can heal it, and two, you got Divine Shield, Inner Fire. So, I mean, all it takes is just a little bit of a Divine Shield, Inner Fire, and bam, you instantly kill your opponent. Then the key is this overkills, so you double the minion's attack. Of course, you attack into something, overkill, it would have to have 4 health or less, and then it would have 10. And of course, the whole thing is the fact that it has 10 health. As Priest, you can heal it back up. So this, I see a lot more, if it is going to be used in Priest. I mean, but it could be in those control decks like Druid that ramps up to it. But honestly, they have a lot better cards to ramp into it than this. Alright, next. 5 mana, 6/5. What's it? Mosh Og Announcer. Enemies attacking this have a 50% chance to attack something else. 5 mana, it's okay. I mean, the fact that it's 5 health means that if it does hit it, there's a chance it could die off some pretty bigger minions, especially at the 5 mana range or later. But, you know, you have this parried on other things, and someone's really trying to kill it. Can't kill it because it's going off the other enemies, and including your face. Biggest thing is this is arena card. I mean, this is arena card. Line Cracker will definitely be an arena card. I mean, honestly, arena, if you were able to get Priest and heal it, I mean, that could win you some games, especially if you control the board. But Announcer could definitely be something that I definitely see in arena more so than anything. Alright, 5 mana, 3/8, Snapjaw Shellfighter. Whenever an adjacent minion takes damage, this minion takes it instead. So this is a really good card. So this card actually could be pretty strong and anti stuff going down. Protect your poisonous, low health creatures. Protect any. I mean, we have an overkill set. So protect anything that would normally get overkill. Um, I mean, dang, just it has 8 health. Another thing, priests. You gotta watch out for those high health ones. You know, Divine Spirit, Inner Fire is a thing. So I mean, this one, honestly, you don't even. Oh, I forgot to mention also Topsy Turvy. So with this, I mean, think about it. Divine Shield, 16 health. I mean, it protects anything you got there on the board. Keep it alive. Protect those minions that are really strong. For example, late game Northshire Cleric. I mean, it protects it. You heal it. You get a card. Of course, it's 5 mana, so yes, late game stuff. I'm looking forward to this one, really. I think it'll be an interesting fit on some cards. I mean, hey, like I said, I'm a Priest player, so I'll definitely be playing in Priest, but it could be being a neutral used in other decks as well. And also, it's anti-spells as well, to a degree. For example, Swipe. They try to swipe another minion, hits the board. This is going to take the 4, if, of course, if it's next to it, plus the 2 from either side of it. So it's gonna take a lot of damage, but it'll protect whatever you got. More than likely, it'll die, but it will protect it at least. Next, 4 mana, 3/5, Ice Cream Peddler. Battlecry. If you control a frozen minion, gain 8 armor. So you'll see this 8 armor thing in the future as well. I mean, if you're running a, let's say, for example, Shaman, they have cards that you can freeze. Of course, Mage has cards they can freeze. But I mean, it's kind of situational. You got to have a frozen minion on your side, and then because you have the frozen minion, you gain 8 armor. Okay, you got to remember your life is your resource. Yes, and 8 armor can help, but is it really worth throwing this in there so that that way you can have something frozen? I mean, I would use the deck slot on something else personally. All right, next 3 mana, 3/4 Untamed Beast Master. Whenever you draw a beast, give it +2/+2. I mean, Hunter already is going to be good this time around, and they're already going to be experimenting with Beast. But with the fact that you kind of have to run the chance that you might get a Beast centric deck, and you're going to make one, of course. But honestly, there's so many good cards that Hunter has that this one might be. It might be, for example, your 35th choice out of 30 cards, because you'll see these other cards that you're going to want to put in there, and then this guy's there. So you're kind of like, do I want to add another weapon? Do I want to add kill command? Do I want to add some of these new Hunter cards we got going on here to kind of help out? I mean, honestly, it is what it is. But I would. I mean, you could probably experiment with them. Probably put one in your deck as Hunter, see if it works. Otherwise, I think there's going to be some other cards better than it that you want to be putting in your Hunter deck, or even Beast centric deck. And the fact that it's 3 mana, you got to keep it alive just so it can proc some other beast. Hey, how's it going? Booblick, appreciate it. All right, anyway. Next, 3 mana, 2/4 Mask Contender, Battle Cry. If you control a secret, play a secret from your deck. So, of course, this is going to be all those secret-centric decks. Here you have Hunter, which already is going to be strong, like I just said, with other cards, and the fact that it has Zul'jin. So, if you have secrets early in the game, it's going to resummon all those secrets. So, yeah, pretty cool. I mean, you can put it in Mage as well, but Mage this time around with the whole hero power thing and the fact it's going to have Jaina. Thank you, Anonymous, for the follow. Greatly appreciate it. With, in this case, more likely is you, Boob. But thank you so much, man. Like I was saying, you got some secrets, you got some decks with secrets, and you got the fabled rogues with secrets, but honestly, rogues don't even play their own secrets. So, I mean, it's kind of like tutoring something that's in your deck into the field. So if you're going to play a secret centric mage, you're going to definitely want to play this. Hunter, the only you're going to play if you play Hunter, the thing is you're going to already, like I said before, have all these awesome, pretty good cards, unless you're going to go with that Subject 9 secret centric deck. Then I guess you can see him playing this, because if there's secrets in your deck that you want out, you're definitely going to want to try Mask Contender out. He might be something you definitely want to play in Mage, with the fact that they got the new secret as well. So let's see here. So Mage has the new Splitting Image. So, for example, if this is in your deck, you play him. This pulls out. You play it. If he gets attacked, at least you got another 3/4 in the field. You got possibilities there, but like I said, unless you're going straight secrets, especially on Mage, you're probably going to want to go Elemental with Frostlich Jaina, and I think that's going to be a lot stronger than just secrets. But it definitely be experimental with and see how that goes. Next, we got 3 mana, 3/4 Drakari Trickster. Battlecry, give each player a copy of a random card from their opponent's deck. So unless you got some disruptive deck that you're doing, honestly, I mean, this may hurt you more than help you. Because, yeah, it's random. And to a degree, you can kind of have an idea of what might go into your opponent's deck. Unless you're playing, for example, let's say Rogue. And you got Rogue that has a buff. You know, you're buffing your weapon, so you got all these buff weapons, but then you're up against Priest. I mean, Priest is not going to have a weapon to buff, so yeah, you're going to kind of hope that you're going to give them a card that they won't need, and that you get a card from their class or whatever that you might want to have. But the key thing is random. So a lot of times when you have random cards, they end up being weaker or hurt you more often than not. But you got to remember something like this, for example, Warriors Dragon War. Yeah, it's random, adding 2 random dragons to your hand, but that's actually a type of random you want. Because remember, dragons buff from each other just being in the hand. So honestly, unless it's, I mean, the weakest dragon is probably going to be Temporis. Just for the fact that you may not want to give your opponent 2 turns in a row. Unless, I mean, if you're Warrior and you're playing Temporis, which is Priest card, if you have a lot of armor, I guess it may not be a problem, but there's a lot of risk involved there. Otherwise, almost every other dragon you definitely want. So like I said, that's a more secure random, but this might be a little too random. Maybe he'll be good for Arena, because Arena, you kind of want cards, you kind of want to control the board and keep going, so you don't really care whatever they get. But on a constructed level, no, he's just too insecure. All right, next we got Gurabashi Offering. 1 mana, 0/2. At the start of your turn, destroy this and gain 8 armor. This card is absolutely awful. I don't know why it's epic. It could be a common card and still not played. Because think of it. 0 mana 2. At the start of your turn, destroy this and gain armor. Unless you silence it. But why would you want to silence a 1 mana 0/2? I mean, yeah, it's going to get you armor on your next turn. 8 armor. But one, you don't. What does it matter if you get 8 armor in the beginning of the match? You play him turn 1, he just dies. Play some paladin deck that buffs it, it's still gonna die next turn, unless you really want to give it some type of death rattle, like steed or whatever on it, so it procs the death rattle. There's really no point in doing that. It could have been common. It really could have been common, but I guess they only made it epic so that if you get it in Arena, it doesn't proc as often as a choice. But really, it's absolutely one of the weakest cards in this time around. I don't even know why. Anyway, 5 mana, 3/3 overkill. Summon another Arena patron. So here, if you are familiar with our good old friend, the patron cards in the past, you know how strong it was, especially with Warrior. And I'm sure a lot of people have PTSD about just the phrase, come on, get in here. But this one is going to be a lot harder to actually do because it's more of an overkill. So you definitely have to make sure that they have 2 health or less. So, I mean, it's more fair than the last patron card we have. But I think it's funny that Blizzard made this for, it's interesting that they carried it on. So I believe, it's a straight Arena card. Constructed, you really need it to try to keep it around. Unless you can give it rush through like Rogue or some other means, it's probably not going to be it's not even going to be a good card. All right, so we got another Murloc here. 4 mana, 3/2. Murloc Tasty Fin. Death Rattle. Draw 2 Murlocs from your deck. So before we actually get into this card, is it just me? Does it look like he's eating other Murlocs? Like, I gotta really look at this. Like, is he taking the tentacles of other Murlocs and eating them? Anyway, he's a pretty creepy, but good art. Anyway, Murloc deck, you would put him in there. Although the problem is, I mean, he would tutor for other Murlocs, but the key is you want Murlocs to actually do something on the field more likely because they're more of an aggressive type deck. And this one is not really aggressive, other than the fact that you might, I say maybe I would put one in my deck if the fact that I have so many Murlocs and then I run out and I need more Murlocs. But, you know, it's just another Murloc to add to the pool. We'll see how it goes in the future. All right. 2 mana, 2/2. A Fire Tree Witch Doctor. Battle cry. If you're holding a dragon, discover a spell. So this is great. Dragon decks, for example, you're going to have a warrior. Definitely include this in here. Don't get it wrong. I mean, priests will definitely try out the dragon aspect as well because they already, you know, have that. This is going to be very strong and wild, especially in priest that already has the old Draconite operative. I missed that card. I'm just going to tell you. I really miss him. He was awesome. But anyway, Fire Tree, Witch Doctor, have a dragon, discover a spell. And having a spell is great. Discover what you need. So, great card, 2 mana. Get another card is awesome. So this is a great card. 2 mana, 1/4, Soup Vendor. Whenever you restore three or more health to your hero, draw a card. So we did get the new Regenerate card from Priest. For 0 mana, regenerate, restoring 3 health to yourself. So the fact that it does that, I mean, you could use 0 mana to tutor to get another card. It's a possibility. Although, of course, now that we have this new Paladin thing going down where Helidon it's coming on strong, especially with Paladin, you're able to use High Priest Thekel, turn yourself to armor, and heal yourself. That's where this is going to be a lot stronger in. So 2 mana, 1/4, respectable. With the fact that it has 4 health, it more than likely, especially at 2 mana, it's going to live to your next turn. So I could definitely see something like if you did, for example, add this in Priest, turn 1 Northshire Cleric, turn 2, put this guy on the field. Say your enemy, damaged you in those few turns. Even if you use Regenerate on yourself, you get a card from this. And with the fact that you have 2 cards on the field that in some way can gain you cards, whether you heal yourself or heal another minion, I mean, it might be a little disruptive in the beginning of the game, but with other cards that's going on, it will definitely be something that I don't know if this will be something that you really want to add into your deck slot. Next, 2 mana, 2/1, Water Boy, Battlecry. Your next hero power this turn costs 0. So it's basically turning your hero power into summon a free 2/1. I mean, honestly, the card is weak. The only real, I guess you could say, benefit I see out of it is the Priest Death Knight. I mean, of course, you definitely want to try this. You might stick this, if you're really going to stick it in the deck, I would definitely, if you stick it in Priest or stick it in Frostlich Jaina after she's able, turn, so that you can at least get a minion on the field, and then you could hero power it after you play it, and then summon a water elemental. So I guess it means to turn your hero power into summoning a water elemental for Jaina. Priest, you're able to, every time you play something, you're able to proc your hero power as a cheap way to do that. I mean, it's a possibility, but a lot of times that's going to be late game that you even doing your Death Knight, and you really wouldn't want to play this late game. Next, Booty Bay Bookie. 2 mana, 3/3. Battlecry, give your opponent a coin. So, giving your opponent a coin is almost making this card as if it's a 3 mana, 3/3. That's bad. Giving your opponent a coin so then they can play something bigger earlier than you is very bad. So, unless you put this in a deck to somehow mill your opponent by giving them a card and somehow they mill, it's the 10th card and they end up milling something, just stay away from it. I mean, there's no point in having it. All right, next, 2 mana, 0/2 Serpent Ward. At the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. So, it is actually not the very first neutral totem. Technically, Nightmare Amalgam is the very first, because it's everything, the very first totem. So, the problem is it's 0. It's 0 attack. So you're going to play a 2 mana 0/2 that has low health, no attack, just to damage the enemy hero. And then what? They trade into it and there's not a penalty to them because it has 0 attack. So if this, I mean, this literally could have been a 1 cost and it still would have been the same boat. I mean, it of course is 0 because it's a totem, whatever. But your opponent kills it for free, and you wasted a deck slot by having this in your deck. And there's almost anything better than it. So, yeah, no point in doing it. Next, 2 mana, 2/1 Shield Breaker, Battle Cry, silence an enemy minion with taunt. So, you got another means of silencing things. The only problem is, of course, it's specific to taunts. But nowadays, I mean, we do have a good amount of taunts here in the game. I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at. And it's a means to incorporate more silences in the game. So overall, it's a tech card. Definitely not something you want to automatically put in your deck, but be good for the future. All right, Belligerent Gnome, 2 mana, 1/4, taunt. Battle Cry. If your opponent has 2 or more minions, gain a +1 attack. So, of course, anti-aggro, especially anti-zoo. 2 mana taunt. It's great. Something to have in the early game. Honestly, it's more of a tech card as well, because if you're definitely fighting a lot of aggro, you're going to want to include this guy in here. Otherwise, I mean, a 1/4 taunt, 2 mana is okay. But, I mean, it's all right card, but it's definitely something that you're going to want to see. If you see the metas, a whole lot of aggro, this guy is going to be definitely in there. Next one, 8 mana, 2/14. Moshog. I don't know why I'm having trouble saying these stupid guys. Moshog Enforcer. Taunt and Divine Shield. So this is a big boy with 8 mana, 14 health taunt. So like I said earlier, anything with a lot of health if you're a priest player, Divine Shield, Inner Fire, you definitely going to want to watch out for that in the priest deck. I mean, all it really takes is not much. I mean, you just place it down. It's taunt and Divine Shield. So there's a high chance it's going to survive to the next turn. Divine Spirit is already at 28. Topsy-turvy, Inner Fire it, whatever. I mean, it's a big boy. And Priest, Big Priest is already out there. So, and they're already using stuff like Lich King. So, I mean, yeah, it doesn't give you a card like Lich King. But, of course, Lich King's a legendary. But, I mean, all you would need for a priest, for example, is just have this guy die and resummon it. It's just one more thing to worry about. Aside from that, he definitely is more of an arena card. I really don't see this being in any other deck. like constructed that you want to put in. But we'll see how the future holds. All right, next. 7 mana, 5/7, Amani Warbear. Rush and Taunt. So, yes, he costs a lot, but he's a rush card. So he actually does something to the field. He has 5 attack, so he can very well, and the fact that he has a high 7 health, he has a high survivability, high chance to kill stuff, and the fact, remember, if you're doing a rush deck and you have Warrior, Spirit of the Rhino has immunity. So, and it has taunt. So, he can kill something off and protect your field for the future. Honestly, I think he's going to be, he's definitely going to be added in constructed cards or constructed decks. I can very well see that. But mainly something that you're going to plan around for Rush. If you're definitely planning around Rush, then he might be one you put in there. The only problem is the fact that he has seven mana. So you're hoping things like Undasta might be able to summon him from your hand, because you got to remember, the good thing is he is a beast. So Undasta can summon him. Anything that's Rush, just like the Rhino, draw it and give it 5/5. A Rush Taunt that's 10/12. Hey, it's pretty good. The only issue is, I don't know if you would include 2 of them in a deck. You probably just want to try one out, see how it works, see if you're able to proc what you want to proc off. Otherwise, I think you'll be all right. Next, Rabble Bouncer, 7 mana, 2/7 taunt. Costs 1 less for each enemy minion. So, of course, this is also another anti-aggro card. Has 7 health. It's, has some survivability. The only issue is the fact that if you have a lot of minions on the enemy board, yes, this will protect you to a degree, but the more minions that an enemy has, the higher the chance that they can kill this, because they're going to have variable amount of minions with variable amount of attack power. So 7 health nowadays, if he has a whole board, if your enemy has 7 minions, and this is free, 2 mana, 2/7, that's free taunt, but he has 7 things that's probably going to have 2 attack. It's going to vary 2 attack, 3 attack, maybe a 5 attack minion up there. So you're disrupting them for a little bit, but not as much as you may want to have. And the fact that it has 2 attack, even if it does disrupt them, it may not really kill off what you want. So the only real good thing is the fact that you can cheat it out just a little bit, but the fact that you can cheat her out, you're probably going to be in a losing position unless you can play this for cheap and play something else in the later game. But early game, if you have this in your hand and they have so many minions on the board, unless you have a backup plan, you're able to stall out, like, for example, Priest or something, be careful. You might just be close to death. All right, next, 5 mana, 3/6, Dragon Maw Scorcher. Battlecry, deal 1 damage to all other minions. So we got another dragon here. This dragon, it doesn't have taunt like the 4/8 dragon that does 2 to everything. It doesn't have taunt, but the fact that it's cheaper and can deal 1 damage to a lot of things. It's a dragon. It's gonna definitely be beneficial. You got Warrior up here that wouldn't mind getting 1 damage on stuff, so you can kill it, especially with Smolder Throne Lancer. Great combo. That's 8 mana, instantly kill something. As long as, of course, you have another dragon in your hand after you play this guy. But, which that won't be hard at all. So, it's neutral. I wouldn't be surprised if some decks use this I mean, it's 5 costs, but I wouldn't be surprised if they use it as a means to deal 1 damage to a lot of minions. Especially, for example, if Dude Paladin, like everything else was ignored and Dude Paladin was on the meta and still strong. Something that's able to kill off those cheap 1-1 guys. I wouldn't be surprised if this was teched in there. But it's a dragon. It's good. Alright, 5 mana, 1-1, former champ. Battlecry summon a 5-5 hotshot. Excuse me. So, I mean, it's just like some other previous expansions we have, a cheaper version to where it's sorry, but then summon something. I mean, your number one thing, Shaman. This guy, you play him in Shaman deck, you're going to want to buff him to 6 mana creature because at 1-1, he's useless. It's just the fact that he summons something else. So, straight up Shaman, evolve it, move on with life. Next, 5 mana, 3-4 Rush, Overkill, summon 2 1-1 bats. 3 attack, not a whole lot you can overkill or go on overkill just to summon some more things. Only thing this would be good for is Zoo, and at that point, 5 mana. If you're Zoo at 5 mana and you're still not winning on the board, you're probably not winning. And that's basically it. So it's pretty weak, but definitely an arena card. With Rush and the fact that you might be able to kill stuff in Arena, Arena is more minion-centric, so it's definitely going to be strong there. Alright, next. 4 mana, half-time Scavenger, Stealth, Overkill, gain 3 armor. So, another Overkill, but this one Stealth. So, because it has a high health, even Stealth, you really are not going to be able to kill it, so it just kind of stays in there, and if it's able to overkill something, it does. Gaining 3 armor, it's whatever. I mean, it really is. The fact that it's stealth, you play it when you want to and attack when you want to. That's the best benefit of it. Otherwise, it is what it is. Next, 4 mana, 2-3, Arena Fanatic. Battlecry, give all your minions in your hand 1-1. So here we got a hand buff card that's neutral. So, and of course, because of that, that's why they're kind of giving it 4 mana, a little bit more expensive. But, you know, Paladin had the buff cards in the past. We got this priest stuff that's trying to buff. We got definitely Warlock, if you're going to do a hand buff for Hyreek the Bat, which honestly Hyreek is still weak as all get out. You might as well just do a discard with Jeklik, but it's a possibility. If you're trying to do hand buff, get Hyreek to be some absurd 6-6, 7-7, you got whole board full of him, go for it. But, I mean, it's going to be... It's kind of like a tech card, I guess you could say, with the fact that now that you have hand buff visible to available for everybody, and that's really what it's going to be. It's going to be tech. Honestly, it would not surprise me if, one, definitely in Arena, if you have a whole handful of minions, that might be helpful. But it wouldn't surprise me in the future expansions, we get some stuff. Don't count this out, because now that this is available to all classes, you got to watch out that you don't come across something that buffs a class that you wouldn't have thought could buff their hand. So we'll see how it goes for the future. All right, 4 mana, 5-3, Ticket Scalper. It is a pirate. Overkill, draw 2 cards. So, man, draw 2 cards, that'd be awesome. The only problem is overkill, so it has 3 health. If you were going to plainly play this, then it shouldn't be in your deck. Best examples, of course, when it was played on the Hearthstone test, when they were dumping all the cards, it looked pretty strong in Rogue after they played the 8 mana minion here. Let's bring it up. Captain Hooktusk, after they played Captain Hooktusk, and because it's a pirate, it came out and kept drawing cards after it would kill stuff with Rush. Looked pretty cool. Problem is, not going to happen all the time. And you got to remember, it naturally doesn't have Rush. So being a pirate, it has a great benefit, but might be a little harder to proc than you think. Next, 4 mana 0/4 Death Rattle, draw 2 cards. Arena Treasure Chest. Why? I mean, drawing 2 cards is really strong, but has 0 attack. So hard for you to actually, you can't attack with it. So, I mean, you got a means to give it taunt or something so you can draw your cards. It just costs way too much. 4 mana? Come on now. So, just pass this one by and keep going. Next, 4 mana 3/2 Rubble Tusk Shaker. Death Rattle, summon a Rubble Tusk Breaker when it dies. So, it's like Pilot Shredder in the past. 4 mana, 4/3 Pilot Shredder that would summon a 2-cost minion. So, of course, Pilot Shredder in that aspect had its +1/+1 compared to this, but it was able to summon something. And sometimes you had some 2-cost minions that were strong, and sometimes you had some weak ones. And then sometimes you basically got destroy your whole field, but whatever. With Doomsayer. So there are videos of that on YouTube. I'm sure you've seen them. Anyway, this could be interesting with the fact that you kill it and it summons another 3/2 afterwards. I mean, don't write it off. It definitely is strong in Arena. Constructed, I mean, it's like it stays on a board. You kill it, it stays on a board. So, I mean, it's a minion that summons another minion, so it's almost like 2 cards in one. We'll see how it works. The only issue I see out of this is the fact that because it's neutral, are there other cards better than it? So, I mean, this would be like I said before, maybe your 36th, 37th card that you would add in your deck if you had the chance to, but you don't because we don't have that liberty. But, I mean, it could be a tech card, for example, Zoo. Keep it on the, someone destroys it, it still has something on the board to keep going. So, we'll see how it goes. 4 mana, 3/5 Regenerative Thug. So, at the start of your turn, restore 2 health to this minion. I mean, it's something. I mean, it has 5 health. It might stay around and then heal itself. I mean, the only issue is that it just might cost 1 mana too much as a minion. I mean, 3/5 is not a bad stat line at all, but there are cards out there that are a little better than it. So, and it only heals 2. And the problem is, it's at the start of your turn. So, enemy can definitely kill it easily. If, by turn 5, 6, I mean, they have stronger minions. So, I would just pass it on by for right now. 3 mana 2/2, a Banana Buffoon. Battlecry, add 2 bananas to your hand. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see this in a few decks because it adds bananas to your hand, and it's not like Mukla adding the bananas to the enemy hand for 3. So, I mean, it is a way to means to buff. I wouldn't be surprised to see in a Paladin with the fact that they may have the meat to buff their own minions. And then, I believe this card is actually in the new Priest, one of the Priest decks, the auto-made decks, when you go in there, the deck recipe. I believe it's actually in there in that minion-centric one, so as a way to buff more and more of your cards. Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility, because especially as Priest, it's 2/2, which is okay, but you got to remember, Priest has this new means of Spirit of the Dead, so if it dies, goes back in your deck as a 1 cost. So here you have a 1 cost 2/2 that has bananas that you can buff other cards with. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, I would play a one cost card that gave me cards to buff other cards for one. So, we'll see how it goes. But I would not be surprised to see this in some constructed decks. Just as it might be more of a meme deck, but it wouldn't surprise me. 3 mana, 3/5, ornery, tortoise. Battlecry, deal 5 damage to your hero. Now, of course, the given is that it deals damage to you because the 3 mana, 3/5 stat line is pretty good for 3 mana. It's a beast. So, as a hunter, they want beasts. They want a means to buff their beasts, and they have ways to buff their beasts. So, it's good there. Downside, of course, dealing damage to yourself, but if you're a hunter and you basically are worried about killing your opponent before they kill you, you won't mind. It's just the fact that 5 health might be a problem for them. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see this in some decks. As an early means that it has 5 health, it might be a lot harder for your opponent to kill off in the early game than it is later game. But in the late game, you're going to have to worry about that 5 damage to yourself, especially if you, let's say, for whatever reason, they add this in the zoo because of this health. I mean, Warlock needs their health as much as anybody else, so we'll see how it goes. But, late game, definitely be worried if this is the card in your hand and you're sitting here trying to survive. Next, 2 mana, 0/4. Dozing Marksman. So this guy is literally a sleeper. He's sleeping on the job. But when he takes damage, has +4 attack. So, of course, takes 1 damage is a 4/3. For 2 mana, that's not bad. The only thing is, sorry about that. Didn't mean to hit the mic. You got Warrior that has this new weapon that actually, deals damage to anything you play. You have, there's some ways to damage your own side of the field, but not a whole lot. So unless you have a means to buff it, it's almost it's not Angry Chicken with the fact that, of course, Angry Chicken had only 1 health and you had to have buff its health as well. But it has 4 attack. That's a good amount of attack. That's pretty good. So this is one that if you do put in your deck, you're going to have a plan as far as how to proc it. The easiest I see right now is either some type of hand buff to buff it up where it can have an attack and attack things, or, give it taunt, I guess. But easiest is probably Warrior, because they always have a means to attack minions on the field. Next, 2 mana, 2/1, Cheaty Ankle-Biter. Lifesteal, Battlecry, deal 1 damage. So this, of course, once it deals 1 damage to anything on the field, it automatically heals you for 1. But, of course, it has 1 health itself. So as we're getting into this 2 mana cost range, the problem is if you include any of these cards in your deck, you definitely got to worry about the fact that you have that, let's see, what's that guy's name? The guy that's basically going to buff your hand for 2 mana. Or, sorry, buff your deck for 2 mana. So the fact that you have to make sure you don't have any other 2 mana costs in your deck just so that it'll buff the rest of your deck for +1/+1. Any of these 2 costs in there automatically nullify having him. Oh, Prince Keletheth, that's it. Sorry about that, it just came to me. So, Ankle-Biter, I could really see it in the Zoo deck as a means to deal 1 damage, heal yourself, and then try to go face later. But because we have Prince Keletheth in the game, until he rotates out, anything that's 2 costs, you really got to weigh in. Do you want the Prince or do you want this minion? Or more 2 cost spells or anything of that nature. So right now it's weak. I would just pass on it for the time being. 2 mana 2/2 Shark Fin Fan. After you hero attack, summon a 1/1 pirate. Of course, it's a means of a token. It is a pirate, so of course, automatically you want to consider it in a rogue deck. Rogues have a weapon, so I mean, yeah, if you're gonna make a pirate deck, he's definitely gonna be in it. The key is he's actually gonna he's also in the druid decks as well, because now that druid has the attack power aspect of them, you're gonna be using your attack power more often. So you can kind of see it as a token, almost like another way of doing like a token druid, with the fact that he's going to keep creating 1/1s. The only thing, of course, he only has 2 health, so he may not stay around much longer. He's just like Violet Teacher, just a weaker version that you might be able to get, another mini on the board for. But you got Rogue, they'll definitely use him. And the fact that he's a pirate, so you'll see him around. You definitely will. Especially in the first few weeks as they're testing different cards. Or decks, sorry. Alright. 2 mana 0/2 Scarab Egg. Death Rattle. Summon 3 1/1 Scarabs. So, best thing I heard, the allusion to this was the old school Haunted Creeper, which was a 2 mana 1/2 beast spider that when it died, it would bring 2 1/1 ghostly spiders that weren't beast. So the problem there, I mean, that was a staple everywhere, especially when we had old school Undertaker. God, that was everywhere. But when we had Undertaker, you had Haunted Creeper, turn 1, turn 2. I mean, your game was over, really. But the problem here, we got a 0 attack. So that's going to be an issue. Having 3 1/1s, it's like, okay, cool, as a token thing. But you got to watch out for those egg decks. I mean, egg decks have a way to buff their eggs, so you're going to plan around it. But off the bat, you got to have a plan to buff this guy. Otherwise, it's just a 0/2. No one's going to attack into it. It's just going to stay on your side of the board. So plan ahead, and having 3 minions it's all right. Next, 2 mana 2/3 Spellzerker has +2 spell damage while it's damaged. So don't count this guy out, because I mean it is 2 mana, and the fact that it has +2 spell damage. So things like Mage, things like Warlock with Defile. I mean, with Defile, that's almost not really instant clear, but it's going to be a pretty strong clear, because the first time you do it, it's going to kill off the 1 health ones, but then while it's damaged, it's +2, so it automatically jumps to his 3 damage side. So yeah, be careful of this one, especially in Warlock, maybe even Zoo. Especially, if they're going to have Soulfire and all these things that could have plus damage, or spells that can use plus damage. Mage has a bunch of spells. Remember, they just got this new card, let's see, Blast Wave. So Blast Wave, of course, deals 2 damage to everything, but Overkill, add more mage spells to your hand. Wouldn't be surprised if I saw something like Spellzerker, Blast Wave combo. Now, granted, you would have to wait until this guy is damaged before you even did something like that. But if it was damaged, you use Blast Wave goes off for 4. You automatically get a mage spell from Spellzerker itself dying, plus anything else that's on the field. So yeah, I mean, don't count this one out. I mean, it's going to be niche in the different spell damage decks, but the fact that it has +2 spell damage for cheap, it's possible to have this guy in a few of those decks. All right, next, 1 mana 2/3 Serenite Taskmaster. Now, we're back to this age-old 1 mana 2/3 stuff. Of course, if you were back in the day and you had, just like Undertaker back then, Zombie Chow. It was a one mana 2/3 that when died, it would, give 5 health to your opponent, which in the early game, who cared if you healed your opponent? Sometimes they still have full health. Sometimes they only had a few damage and they healed. You're like, whatever. The key about in the early game is controlling the board. You control the board, you're breezing through the rest of the game. You have a distinct advantage. So here we are with another 2/3. Now, the Death Rattle summon a 0/3 free agent with taunt for your opponent. So if you didn't know what this looks like, it's basically the guy in the background has gotten freed. But of course, it jumps to your opponent's side of the field. Now, that's really not that bad. I mean, it's a 0/3 taunt. Of course, it's a taunt, so it kind of gets in your way. But if you if your enemy doesn't have a means to take this out, and let's say you're playing this in, let's say, a control deck, the fact that your opponent got a 0/3 taunt, you don't care. Your whole thing is to control the board. I mean, you might care if you were Zoo, but with the fact that this is a one mana 2/3, let's say you're Zoo, Warlock Zoo, you have this, you drop this down, you drop some other minions down as well. So the key is in the early game, if you can control the board in the early game of Zoo, then you can just breeze on through for that match and you more than likely will win. So control the board, they get this free agent up, you just kill it, move on. And one thing a lot of people have been saying that this could actually be a means to disrupt Mechathune because opponent trying to get Mechathune, trying to kill it off and stuff, give them a 0/3 free agent that can't attack and you're not going to attack into it. They have a hard time actually trying to find some way to destroy it so Mechathune can go off and they win. I mean, it's possible. I'm sure we'll see some YouTube trolled in videos about it happening in the future. But honestly, Serenite Taskmaster might be pretty strong, and I mean, it's going to be strong in Arena. I wouldn't be surprised to see this in some decks unconstructed. Shoot, think about it in, let's say, Paladin. Paladin has a means to upgrade and buff different minions. So you get this on the field, you buff it. By that time that it dies and the opponent has a 0/3, you probably got several minions on your side of the board to take it out. So it's not that big a deal. So just because it summons a 0/3 taunt, don't fret over it, I guess I could say, as bad. Because it's really not that big of a deal. I mean, honestly, if a 0/3 taunt somehow disrupts you, then you may want to kind of consider what you're playing in your deck and swap out some cards and stuff, add some more other early game cards, and you might just work out for you. All right, next, Gurabashi Chicken. Yes, that chicken does have an axe for a face, but it's just a helmet, so it wasn't born that way, so it's fine. Anyway, of course, the cousin of Angry Chicken is a 1 mana 1/1, now with Overkill, gain 5 attack. Yeah, good luck on that. You're really. I mean, it's got a buff. You got to buff it, then kill something that's lower than its attack, which at this point, the only thing it can kill is something that has, well, it can't overkill anything because even at 0 health, something's dead. So the only thing I can think of is I mean, you have it in Paladin and just like regular Angry Chicken, you have it in your hand, buff Paladin, some type of way of buff. Nowadays, I mean, you have the new Priest, Surrender to Madness. If you really are mad and it's in your deck and you buff it and it's a 3/3 or do it again and it's a 5/5, yeah, good luck on that. But honestly, you would have to be mad to put this, to even put it in your deck. So good luck on that. And finally, we got Helpless Hatchling. 1 mana, 1/1. Death Rattle. Reduce the cost of a beast in your hand. Now, this reduced the cost of 1 beast in your hand, not multiple. So, how's it going, Shimmerex? Yeah, sorry if you just got here. Yeah, I'm basically at the end. But if you haven't already, definitely I have all the videos that I've done on YouTube. Just check out my YouTube if you're not already watching on this. It's Analyze It on YouTube with the same moniker, little robot thing where we kind of analyze stuff. Where I've already broken down the basically the class cards were in part 1 and part 2, and then here we're doing the final of the neutral cards. But definitely give me a follow and check out and subscribe to YouTube. You definitely see on there. Hey, congrats getting back from the pre-release party. That's awesome. I've seen some people playing at different places, you know, Tavern Brawls. It's pretty cool. So yeah, if anyone didn't know, Blizzard's doing a thing where you can actually go Tavern Brawls, where you kind of got the deck recipes and you can play these cards with other people. Hey, Shimori, thanks for the follow. But yeah, if you didn't know, there's Tavern Brawls. Check out the website, Hearthstone, Blizzard, whichever. See what the closest Tavern Brawl is to you, because the weekend's coming up. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of places that's going to have these. And it'll be fun to kind of play the cards early. So playing the cards early, maybe you get a leg up, see what's good before you craft your own decks. All right. 1 mana, 1/1, like I said, Helpless Hatchling. Honestly, they just needed a cute card. Of course, they had to, at every deck, have some type of cute little thing, which is, fine. But this one, honestly, even if you had a beast deck, even if you were going in there and going with your Hunter beast deck and you're doing whatever, I mean, it's reducing one of these by one of the beasts. And honestly, you may not want to play. Your best bet is to play Springpaw. That is a whole lot better of a 1-drop than this Hatchling. So Hunter already is going to be starved for deck slots because they have such a good variety of cards they can put in there with, you're going to try the Spirit of Lynx, you're going to try Halaziel, Zul'jin, and of course with Zul'jin, you're going to add whole lot of spells in there. Just go with Springpaw, and that'll be a lot stronger of a 1-drop than Fletch, whatever this pseudo maybe dragon that is a beast. Yeah. But that brings us to the end of the card reviews, basically of all the cards. As a big summary, I mean, personally, I think the power level of this is not as strong as some of the past ones. I mean, it has some good things here and there for different decks. For example, the power level of Warrior is super strong. I mean, it's going to be strong. You got the dragon aspect, you got the rush aspect, you got a variety of different things to try out when these cards get released. That's probably the strongest. You got Hunter. Hunter has the new fact that you have Zul'jin, so you're going to have spells. You already got the Death Knight Rexxar. I mean, you're going to basically, both of these are almost auto include in your Hunter decks, so that's going to be pretty good to have. Halaziel, I definitely going to see that tested day one with the quest. I mean, honestly, you might as well, just to see if they pair together and see if they do well, especially with Spirit of the Lynx. I mean, the strongest thing about this expansion is the spirits. Some spirits are better than others. But we'll see how it all turns out because we got to remember these are going to be cards that's going to be around for 2 years now. So even if this expansion is not as strong as some past ones, and the meta, I mean, I'm sure the meta is going to shake up it's going to shake up at least a little bit. We'll see how it goes, even with all these spirits. But we'll see how they are implemented in the future expansions, because that's one thing Blizzard's got to watch out for is how they're going to come out with future cards. Because, like I said before, I'm a priest player. I love playing priest, and together the priest cards are pretty weak, but they have some strong stuff. Seance is going to be pretty strong, I think, with the fact that you can gain multiple Amaras. The fact that, shoot, I'm going to play that in the Master Cloner Xeric. I definitely would play him. Get multiple ones. Come on now. Regenerate, zero cost. These zero cost cards are going to be strong. The Spirit of the Dead. I mean, the fact that anything dies and we hide them behind a taunt, and the fact that you get more versions of it in your deck, I foresee that Priest, even though the Priest may not be strong this time around again, but in future expansions, with the fact that this puts cards in your deck, this draws the cards from your deck into your hand, and then this takes cards from your hand to the field. Priest might get stronger in the future, but is it strong this time? It's got some tools. But just like Rogue, Crawl the Shark is interesting. I would really like to see how he works with like the vial that procs your death rattles multiple times. See how many cards of whatever he eats gets into your hand. The pirate thing, this coming year, they're going to have to introduce more pirates because there's just not a whole lot of pirates, and what pirates they do have aren't that strong. So, just kind of a summary of things that I've kind of said in the past. I mean, right now, you basically got some classes that are going to be really strong. Warlocks is really going to be interesting. I've seen Zeklik and what it can do in a discard deck. Now, of course, what I've seen is in a vacuum of the fact of the deck recipes. So we'll see how it really does in constructed. But I mean, I like what I see. I mean, it's pretty interesting to get multiples in a hand. This paired with your Warlock quest, it might actually be pretty interesting. It might actually make Disco Lock really good, especially with Soul Warden. So, I mean, come Monday when these cards come out, I'll definitely will be trying out different things and seeing how things work. What do you think the three best decks would be? All right, so as far as the three best decks, of course, come Monday, everyone's going to be trying a lot of different decks, and the meta is going to shift almost hour by hour as different people do different things. The best ones, now, I don't know if they'll be tier 1 or anything. I think Hunter is going to be pretty strong with the fact that we have Zul'jin. Zul'jin alone is going to be pretty interesting because even if you went secret-centric, he's going to recast all those secrets. He's going to recast all the spells that you've... Now, it might be random, but Secret's going to get played, you know. So, it's going to be interesting. I think Hunter's going to be strong. I think Warrior, I think hands down Warrior is going to be strong. The key is which Warrior is going to be strong. Is it going to be the Dragon version, or is it going to be some type of Rush mix version? But I think everyone's going to try a Dragon version, especially with War Master Vune doubling the dragons in your hand and Dragon's War just getting dragons in your hand. That, I think, alone is going to be pretty strong. I'll be surprised if that wasn't a tier 1 deck, because if it's not a tier 1 deck, it's definitely going to be tier 2. Now, the other one, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be strong in the long run, but I do believe that people are going to try this discard Warlock. The only aspect of discard Warlock is going to be the fact that it's going to be random. If someone can come out with, if for example, if Quest Warlock becomes strong with the fact that you get the Void contracts out, or not Void contracts, sorry, the fact that you can get multiple 3/2 demons out, and you're able to keep discarding Zeklik, or get some combo of Soul Warden is discarded, Soul Warden summons another Soul Warden that keeps summoning another Soul Warden, and you're able to get some type of combo out. I mean, that could be strong, but it's random. So, Hearthstone, random is random. But definitely, I think Hunter is going to be strong. I think Warrior is going to be strong. As far as what's next, that's going to be the hard part. I believe Mage might be not really an issue, but the fact that you have the possibility of getting Ragnaros out, and you have Frostlich Jaina that paired with whether it's the Spear of the Dragonhawk that you're able to attack multiple things to get Ragnaros out, or if you're doing this Fire Eater. Because think about it, Fire Eater in the late game is still good because you have Frostlich Jaina out there, and no longer do you have to sit here and count out, oh, is this going to be at, is this guy going to be at 1 health so then I can proc him and then get my water elemental out? No. Play this guy out and then you automatically do 3 damage to anything. So it's going to be pretty interesting of getting Ragnaros out. And then, of course, Ragnaros gets you 8 health regardless of what he hits as Frostlich Jaina. So I wouldn't be surprised. And I mean, I'll be honest myself. If I played Janali, got Ragnaros out, and let's just say he survives a turn. All he needs to do is survive a turn. I'm going to play Zola. Straight play Zola on Ragnaros, get another Ragnaros. Play that Ragnaros. So I have 2 Ragnaros on the field. So, I mean, that's my strategy. But, I mean, or play the Spitting Image, and someone is dumb enough to hit Ragnaros with a minion, and I get multiple Ragnaros. I mean, it's going to happen. You'll definitely see some trolling videos about it. So I think it's going to be like what's a toss-up as the third powerful one. Druid feels bad, man. That's all I can say. I mean, and I'll be honest, we've been living in Druidstone for so long that I'm okay with it. I mean, a lot of times you face a Druid, you're like, great, how am I going to lose this time? And I'm just tired of facing Druids. I really am. Doing the same thing, doing something you can't control. So, but that's my honest opinion. There's a good mix of stuff here and there. Everyone has their own little thing. And like I said, as a Priest player, I'm going to try Priest stuff out and see if it works. It probably won't, but, I don't mind memeing and having fun with it. Personal thing. But all right. It's been awesome, guys. Thanks for stopping by. And like I said, definitely hit me up if you're not already watching this on YouTube, Analyze It. I already got some videos there for the review and growing some more videos there that I have a goal as far as, taking a deeper look at some things, whether it's gaming, movies, anime. I have some ideas. But definitely, if you haven't already, hit me with a follow. I greatly appreciate it. You guys have a nice night, and we'll see how this expansion goes come Monday. All right.